Hey everybody, I just wanted to real quick go over a couple things from the quiz, and I'm really sorry I couldn't be here today, but I want to point out a couple things in particular that I noticed on a lot of people's quizzes. First one was the long division one. So most people did set this up correctly. Okay. So we started with something like this. Okay. And most people said, well, x squared times 8x squared would be good here. Okay. And then I would say also most people multiplied these, which we're supposed to. 8x to the 4th plus 8x cubed minus 24x squared. So here's where we got into a little bit of trouble. Okay. Again, I know I need to subtract so that the 8x to the 4ths cancel, but I'm subtracting this entire row. Okay. So I should actually be distributing this negative. So I have negative 8x cubed, 2x squared minus negative 24x squared. Okay, is 26x squared, and then bring the other stuff down. Okay, a lot of people miss this negative because they didn't subtract the whole row. Okay, so be really careful there. Okay, largely number 2 was really, really good. Number 3 was probably my biggest pet peeve, and I apologize if this wasn't clear, but because I'm giving you a graphing calculator, my expectations are pretty high on what this graph is going to look like. Okay? For example, okay, I saw a lot of graphs that looked roughly something like this. Okay, and that was essentially the end product that I got. Okay, I have you do all of this work on the left side to make sure that your graph is really precise, right? I should see labels on this graph somewhere, like where are these minimum points, right? What is this local maximum up here? I should see those labeled on the graph. Because the numbers were bigger, right? I think we had like 0, 18, and the minimums were at like 2 something, comma negative 12. Okay. I know they went off the graph, so go ahead and change your scale. Go ahead and tell me that you're counting by 2s or you're counting by 3s to make sure this stuff gets on the map or on the graph. Okay. The other thing is if we look at the table of values that most people created, like I think we had the point negative 2 comma 10. A lot of people use that as their minimum, right? So if I looked at their graph, it'd be like 1, 2, negative 10s down here. Okay. But again, that wasn't our minimum. We found our minimum in part B. Okay. So please make sure that when you're plotting your minimum, it's actually the minimum and not just whatever the lowest point in your table was. Okay. So again, I have pretty high expectations for this graph. I should see labels. Okay. I should see a pretty neat and organized graph. I should have your maximums and minimums, where they're supposed to be. So I think we need to just pay a little more attention and be a little more careful on the graphing ones. Okay. On the back, again, largely I didn't think these were too bad. Remember the setup for number 5, it should have been x minus 8 because 8 is a 0. Since 6i is a 0, it should be x minus 6i. And then the complex conjugates theorem says that negative 6i is also a 0. So I should have x plus 6i. Multiply those together, and we should be okay. Usually, anybody who had started with the right setup got to the correct final answer. Otherwise, again, please just read the comments that I put on there. I think they're pretty self-explanatory. If you have questions, please reach out. And happy studying night, guys. See you tomorrow.